Hello everyone, this is PotatoLegion here. Hope you're keeping very well. As the previous video, we mentioned about changes to Dead by Daylight, including the perks and the prestige system. They've just done a huge update showing us what's going to happen. I haven't read this myself, so we're going to quickly go through it. I'll be leaving a link in the description as well. But these are some huge changes to the game that are gonna completely change how the game is going to go. So let's quickly crack on. During our 6th anniversary broadcast, they announced a new progression system and a meta shifting perk overhaul, which we've already previously discussed, so they're just mentioning that again there. So an overhauled progression system. Collecting all the perks has been an important goal for many players. However, since both the number of perks and characters are consistently increasing, the grind expands at an exponential rate with every new chapter. To address this, we're completely overhauling the way perks are earned, adding new rewards and making completion easier than before. So basically how it will work, and it's all explained here, so feel free to read yourself. Every time you prestige a killer, the tier 1 of all of their shareable perks will be available on every other survivor or killer. So for example, say you prestige the Trapper, this will instantly unlock tier 1 versions of Agitation, Brutal Strength, and Unnerving Presence on all other killers. Tier 2 and 3 versions of these perks will now appear randomly in the Blood Web. Prestiging the Trapper again will make tier 2 versions of all these perks immediately available. So it will now be easier for you guys to quickly get all of the teachables on every single killer and survivor. And when you get a new killer that comes out, you'll basically have all of their teachables ready to go. So it'll be really good for you to basically unlock a new killer and immediately start playing because you'll have all of the perks ready to go. So no more resets. Prestiging has always been a bit of a dilemma. Do you give up on everything for bragging rights, or do you keep what you have to minimize the grind? Now that prestiging in the main way to unlock perks, we want to make the choice easier. Prestiging a character will no longer remove their perks, items, add-ons, or offerings. Perk slots will also remain unlocked after prestiging. With no reason not to prestige, prestiging a character is no longer optional. After reaching level 50, you receive a special blood web with only a single node. Purchasing this node will increase your prestige level and reset your character to level 1. So there is no harm in you just constantly prestiging. If you want to keep getting add-ons and offerings, just prestige. So you're going to keep grinding and grinding and grinding. And hint the word endless prestige there. I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to offer us as well. So reaching prestige levels 4, 5, and 6 will now award the characters bloody prestige cosmetics once again, signifying those who went above and beyond. Now that prestiging for the first 3 times awards perks, it only made sense to move these higher. If you've already unlocked these cosmetics, don't worry, we won't be taking them away from you, you've earned it. For the completionist, prestige levels 7, 8, and 9 will grant one of that character's unique perks as a charm. We've also wanted to highlight your dedication to your favorite characters, no matter how many times you've prestiged them. Once the trial is over, your prestige level will now show in the end game. Those who have spent millions of blood points stockpiling add-ons for your favorite characters will now have a way of showcasing your hard work. And here you can see here an example as we showed in the previous video. So it says that if you've already got it, that you'll keep your cosmetics, but it doesn't say that you're gonna be past prestige 3, which is interesting. I'm hoping they do address that. I can't see them mention that there at all. So I don't know what level. You might start off prestige level 6 because that's the last cosmetic. I don't know. Let's go through this. Shrine of Secrets. Unlike before where the Shrine of Secrets would offer teachable perks that then needed to be found in blood webs, the Shrine will now allow you to purchase perks directly. Purchasing a perk through the Shrine of Secrets will make the tier 1 version of it immediately available on all killers or survivors, much like prestige. Subsequent tiers of that perk will also begin appearing in blood webs. You may also purchase a perk again to increase its tier. This works seamlessly with the prestige system, as purchasing a perk you've already unlocked through the prestige system will instead increase its tier. So let's say you want barbecue and chili that's in the thing and you want it tier 3 on everyone, just purchase it 3 times using shards. That's going to be really, really nice for new players who don't want to purchase certain killers and stuff. So let's talk about transitioning to the new system. With many spending hundreds, if not thousands of hours playing Dead by Daylight over the years, we want to make sure that everyone is rewarded fairly. When the system releases, we'll be automatically awarding existing players an appropriate number of prestige levels based on how many perk tiers they've unlocked. If you've left all your characters level 50 and focused on unlocking perks, your work will not be for nothing. It's also important that you don't lose anything when the system is updated. You'll keep any perks and bloody prestige cosmetics that you've already unlocked. So I was just concerned about it, but they've already addressed it there. So you will get the prestige and rewards based on what you've already done. Those who reach Prestige 3 before the update will receive a special prestige icon to recognize their achievements and commemorate the perks and add-ons that they've lost in the process. Ooh, there you go. Like a legacy sort of skin. There you go. So it was worth prestige freeing your survivors and killers because you'll get a nice reward for it. They'll be hosting a live stream soon to show the updated stuff. And they'll have a PTB. Matchmaking has been a major focus over the past year, and we're maintaining that throughout year 7. Through many changes and plans to improve the wait times and match quality, there are variables that we can't control through code. Chief among them is a distribution of people playing each role. If there's simply not enough people queuing for each role, the matchmaking ability to create quality matches suffers. Being an asymmetrical game, Dead by Daylight works the best when there's roughly 4 survivors to each killer. If the 4-to-1 ratio deviates too far, matchmaking time will increase. Okay, blah, blah. So how are they going to increase this? So we noticed already that they're going to do matchmaking incentives. Whenever the number of killers to survivors differs too much, we'll offer a blood point bonus to anyone who opts out to play the needed role. This bonus ranges from 25% to 100% depending on the demand levels. That's really, really nice. These bonuses double as an indicator of which role currently has the fastest queue times. If you want to get into a match as soon as possible, keep out for the incentives. So there you go. They're going to be nice incentives and stuff to encourage people to play each role to make queue times slightly quicker. Heads up though, matchmaking incentives will be disabled if crossplay is turned off. As most players play with crossplay on, this system would be highly susceptible to manipulation, and switching roles would have edit this out. And switching roles would have a negatable effect on matchmaking. If you'd like to take advantage of these incentives, we strongly recommend turning on crossplay through the settings menu. Basically, you can't turn crossplay off to... so if you want a matchmaking incentive, make sure you keep crossplay on. Gameplay updates. Some of the most consistent feedback we receive centers around perk meta. A handful of perks have been dominated usage, especially at higher skill matches. Naturally, the gameplay can feel stale when you see the perks over and over again. Yes. So, they're going to be addressing this by various of updates, but the odd meta change is not enough to shake things up. In this update, we are reworking and rebalancing 39 perks, meta included. We aim to reduce the resilience of the current meta while also providing many new options to experiment with. Before we can make meaningful changes to the meta, we need to look at why these perks are so heavily used in the first place. So let's talk about generator speeds now. There's a lot to this update, okay? When looking at the perks most used by killers, there's a very clear trend. Any perk that helps prevent generators from being powered, slowdown perks for sure, are favored. Corrupt Intervention, Pop Goes the Weasel, Scourge Pain and Resonance, and Hex Rune are a few notable examples. And each are amongst the most popular perks. Many players feel like generators are powered too quickly without these perks, so we knew we needed to look at generators before making any perk changes. Slowdown perks should be an option, but not the only option to stay competitive. First, we have increased the time it takes to power a generator to 90 seconds, up from 80 seconds. The time it takes to complete a generator hasn't been changed in a long time, but it's clear that they're being powered too quickly than we'd like. By slowing them down slightly, we hope to give the killers a bigger window to interrupt survivors, particularly at the beginning of the trial. Second, kicking a generator will now instantly remove 2.5% of the maximum progress. That's nice. The change of making kicking generators more meaningful. Even if a survivor stops it from regressing shortly after, additionally survivors now have to decide whether they should tap a generator to prevent regression, as this allows the killer to kick it again and knock off even more progress. With these two changes, we hope to reduce reliance on passive slowdown mechanics and promote increased interaction between killers and survivors. I'm not going to complain, I like that change. It stops people 99ing gens and it punishes survivors for doing that, and it can help you push them off. So that is really, really nice. Ooh, another whole paragraph about increasing killer improvements. Great. Let's read it. General killer improvements. The average kill rates, how many survivors are killed each trial on average, are a little lower than we'd like. A sentiment echoed by many community members. To ensure the killers feel like an unstoppable force to be feared, we're making a slight improvement to many aspects of killer gameplay. We reduced the time it takes to break walls and pallets by 10%. Now 2.34 seconds, previously 2.6 seconds. Generators can also be kicked 10% faster than before. Now 1.8 seconds was 2 seconds. While these changes may seem small, a fraction of a second make a difference between hitting a survivor and reaching a pallet. That's insane. That's really good. Next, we've reduced the cooldown for successful basic attacks by 10%. Hello? 3 saves best for last? Now 2.7 seconds, previously 3 seconds. And reduce the duration of survivor speed boost upon being hit by 10%. Now 1.8 seconds was 2 seconds. Moving forward, survivors will gain slightly less distance upon being hit, making it more difficult for them to run long distances to a safe area. Nice. Finally, we've tweaked Bloodlust to increase in power to be quicker than before. In most changes, Bloodlust does not activate, though there are rare cases where it can be necessary. The long build-up often leaves a killer in a bad spot if they eventually get a hit. We are adjusting Bloodlust tiers to activate 15, 25, 35 seconds, rather than 15, 30, 45 seconds. So basically the first tier is the same, but tier 2 is better. At the first tier, Bloodlust will not be changed, but tier 2 and tier 3 will be. So these are just slight increases in breaking gens, pallets, and survivors get less distance, so making the killer more scary to go against. I'm happy with these changes, very, very nice. But when there's a killer buff, there's always, you know, survivor buff. So let's talk about camping and tunneling. On the survivor side, there are clear preferences for perks that grant a second chance. Borrowed Time, Decisive Strike, Dead Hard, and perks of that nature help a survivor avoid certain death, leading to extreme usage rate. A benefit of these second chance perks is how they help prevent unfun situations, namely being camped or tunneled out of the game. Okay, so they basically want to talk about camping and tunneling. Moving forward, survivors receive a 5-second endurance effect after being unhooked. They've now made Borrowed Time base kit. This gives them the opportunity to get away. Additionally, the unhooked survivor will receive a 7% haste effect for 5 seconds. This will make them harder to catch and encourage killers to shift focus to the unhooking survivor. Both effects will be cancelled prematurely if the unhooked survivor performs what we call a now conspicuous action. These are interactions other than being chased that improve your chances for survival. If they start repairing a gen, healing themselves or others, cleansing or blessing a tome, sabotaging a hook, unhooking others, or opening an exit gate. So you can't just be unhooked, run to another hook, and then unhook somebody. You can't do that. Or even open the exit gate. You can't like take a BT hit. I think this is okay because it would encourage killers to not camp or tunnel, but this is only going to be irritating in the end game. So it's just basically don't get to the end game as killer. But with all these killer buffs, you know, you should have an easier time, especially with gens being longer and you breaking pallets and the distancing for survivors being here. So there's a lot of killer buffs here, and I think this is fair. Now, this is where we get to the juicy stuff. Meta perk changes. I'm not going to read all of this because it's a bit much, but let's talk about what they claim meta. So for killers, it's Barbecue and Chili, Hex Ruin, Pop Goes the Weasel, Corrupt Intervention, Tinkerer, Hex Noed, and Scoutchook Pain of Resonance. For survivors, it's Dead Hard, Borrowed Time, Decisive Strike, Iron Will, Self-Care, and Spine Chill. And here are some graphs of usage. So let's have a quick look. This is a chart for killers. Obviously, this is the top use for Barbecue and Chili. Ruin is next. Noed's use rate is actually quite high as well. There you go. That's for killer. And this is for survivor. Dead Hard by far being the top used perk. Borrowed Time next. Decisive Strike isn't that high, but yeah, Dead Hard is like one of the highest. Okay, good to know. Killer meta perks, Barbecue and Chili. Current effects upon hooking survivor, see the auras of distant survivors for a short duration. Gain stacking blood points for each unique survivor hooked. This perk is incredibly popular, and not because of it's particularly powerful, but because of the huge amount of blood points it provides. Choosing to go into a match without it massively slows your progression. We do not want blood points to be the driving factor behind perk choices, so we would be removing the blood point bonus. While we understand this change may seem shocking, please keep in mind that this update reduces the grind by about 75%, with matchmaking incentives providing additional revenue for blood points. I don't think that's a big deal. I think they got a fair point there, that we get way more perks a lot easier now, and they're adding incentives for you just playing the game. So, you know, don't be too mad. Trust me, the grind is way less than just bringing Barbecue and Chili. Let's see what Ruin does. Current effect of Ruin. Generator regresses automatically and increase rate, you know, when they don't touch it. So, how are they going to change it? Ruin's appeal is not having the stop and kick generators, as well as the ability to passively regress them from a distance. These aspects make Ruin a unique slowdown perk, so we're not looking to change them. To bring Hex Ruin in line with other perks, we're reducing the regression speed to 50, 75, 100%, from 100, 150 to 200%. This will reduce its power without destroying its primary appeal. After a survivor is killed, Hex Ruin will automatically deactivate. Okay, I don't get that. So you only get that. Okay, so it's not, again, it's not a big deal. I feel like 200%, to be honest, was kind of mean. But, so if somebody's tunneled out and killed out early game, Ruin will just be gone. It's not useless, but it is still a hex. So I don't know how I feel about this aspect to it. It's just doing disencouraged tunneling as well. Ruin dies when you kill someone. Yeah, okay. Right, next perk. Pot goes the Weasel. 25% within 45 seconds whenever you hook a survivor. Pot goes the Weasel gives killer control way to remove significant progress from a generator of their choosing. Given that kicking a generator now removes 2.5% of its progress by default, we decided to turn down some of the numbers to compensate. This perk will now remove 20% of a generator current, not total progress. This change will make Pot goes the Weasel very effective against generators that are nearby done. So they just removed 5% of Pot goes the Weasels. That's also been nerfed. Corrupt Intervention. This perk made the beginning of a match manageable, forcing survivors to extend deeper into the map before repairing a generator. We aren't looking to change this aspect. Moving forward, the perk will now deactivate once a survivor enters the dying state. We believe this change will keep Corrupt Intervention effective in helping the killer build early game pressure while providing a limit to its power. That is a really bad and rough nerf. That is bad. The second you down a survivor, it's gone. It's not okay. Corrupt just allowed you to apply pressure on multiple survivors. Now you can only apply pressure to one survivor. That's a bad nerf. Corrupt will not be used anymore, I'm telling you. I won't be bringing it. The second I down a survivor, I've lost the perk slot. No way. Now, let's get into Tinkerer. Tinkerer is a popular choice. The information it provides, being able to prevent a generator from being powered, is a game changer, particularly on killers with high mobility. It can, however, become a little bit oppressive when paired with certain regression perks. Therefore, Tinkerer can only activate once per generator, but these base changes increased to 90. Killers will have extra time to approach. But with the base charges, oh right, so because the gens take longer, it's still 70%. But it only procs once. I knew that is what would happen. So this would be kind of nice to proc with Merciless Storm. And I do think this is kind of fair. Because on certain fast mobility killers, if they had Tinkerer, it's constantly procking after 70%. At least that way the killer can stop and defend that generator and buy themselves enough time. And because it's now 90 base, they'll have more time. So I think that change is actually okay. Now, everyone who hates NOED, I'm sure you're going to love this change. Correct effect, when the exit gates are powered, you can insta down. Everyone knows what NOED is. This perk makes a very effective comeback tool, though it falls out of favor in high skill games. We like the way NOED encourages survivors to preemptively cleanse totems, so we're not looking to weaken its direct strength. Instead, survivors will now see the Hex Totem's aura within 4 meters upon activation. This range is increased to 24 meters over the course of 30 seconds. Basically, you can now find NOED really, really easy after 30 seconds. There you go. So, yeah, if you rely on NOED endgame, the survivors can find it and make a comeback. I don't think that's a bad thing. If you've got NOED, you need to use it well. Don't rely on it. There you go. I actually think that change is kind of fair. So, there you go. You can no longer face camp with NOED because they'll find it very easily. Right, so Hook, Pain, and Resonance. When you put somebody on a Scourge Hook, the gem with the most progress blows up. So, the additional reason to the meta, Pain Resonance, allows a killer to remove a sizable chunk from the most progressed generator simply by hooking a survivor. A loud noise notification also allows the killer to disrupt survivors before they can continue repairing. A jack of all trades of sorts, granting both powerful aggression effects and crucial information. With that in mind, we're removing the loud noise notification. Instead of exploding, the affected generator will now spark upon losing progress, and survivors will no longer scream. We believe this is ensure Pain Resonance remains a strong regression perk while limiting its informational aspect. Not bad. Pairing this with Deadman's is annoying. At least make it so Deadman's so you have to force the survivors off and not just cheese it with Scourge Hook Pain. It still has the regression of it. Just bring another information perk and you'll still know where to go. So it's not a bad nerf. They're just killing the combination that it has with Screaming. Now then, Survivor meta perks, and I'm praying this one is a good one. I have not read it. So Dead Hard, when you press E, you're basically immune. Let's see what they've done. Dead Hard is by far the most used perk by survivors, and it's easy to see why. In the right hand, it acts like a third health state, allowing survivors to escape a situation where they would otherwise go down. There are two main ways Dead Hard is used, to dodge a hit and for distance, to get by near pallet or window. In the latter case, there's not much a killer can do, therefore Dead Hard will now provide the endurance effect for 1 second when activated. If you time it right, you'll prevent the hit and gain a movement speed boost. This will remove dead harding for distance and make it solely used to dodge hits, which killers can anticipate and even bait accordingly. I know the distancing is gone, and that means they're not going to be able to get to a certain tile, but they can just press E and vault a window and have iframes. But the distancing is gone, which is nice, but it's still going to be annoying, I'm telling ya. Decisive Strike, basically 60 seconds. As long as you don't do an important action, you can hit the killer. One of Decisive Strike's main appeals is efficiency for preventing tunneling. In light of the upcoming base game changes, we expect Decisive Strike to drop in usage slightly. For those most part, we find the perk to be healthy for the game and easily avoidable for killers who choose not to tunnel and unhook survivor. That said, at the end of the match, there's often nothing the killer can do to prevent a survivor with Decisive Strike from escaping. Thank you. Moving forward, Decisive Strike will now deactivate once the exit gates are powered. In addition, the stun duration has been reduced from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. We'll also be simplifying the description of perk and will now be cancelling for conspicuous actions. Nice. 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 I am sick and tired of people DSing their way out. Good luck doing that now. That is a fair and nice change. Good. Borrowed time. Basically, when you unhook a survivor, they get an endurance effect. But now this is base kit, so let's see what they're doing. Much like Decisive Strike, this perk gets much of its popularity by granting counterplay against a camping killer. Considering the lighter version of Borrowed Time's effect has been added to the survivor's base kit, we need to update the perk accordingly. Borrowed Time will now extend the duration by 6 to 8 to 10 seconds and increase the movement speed bonus duration by 10 seconds for any survivor you unhook. These effects will be cancelled if the unhooked survivor performs any conspicuous action, or the overall duration with Borrowed Time is longer than before. We expect that having a lighter version base kit will cause its usage rate to drop. I think that's fair, that's fine. 7% haste is not crazy. Iron Will. It basically makes you silent when you're injured. Now they're making it so it's 25, 50, 75%. So you're not completely silent, which I like that change. Additionally, Iron Will is no longer active when exhausted, though it will not cause exhaustion itself. Very, very nice. So if you're exhausted, I can hear you. Brilliant. Unlocks the ability to heal yourself without a med kit at 50%. Though self-care has a diverse reputation amongst the community, we were surprised to find its usage perks at the highest skill matches. Having a consistent and reliable way to heal is a very powerful tool in the right hands. On top of that, self-care increases the efficiency of medkits. To reduce its strength, self-care's heal speed will be lowered to 25, 30, 35%. And the item efficiency bonus has been removed entirely. What the hell? Please run self-care. Please run self-care. Activates when a killer is nearby, looking in a direction, increasing the action speeds and chance for skill checks. This perk excels at alerting survivors when a killer is approaching, and in higher skill lobbies, the vault speed increase becomes the primary draw. There are a few aspects of this perk we'd like to clean up. Spine Chill will now only activate if the killer has a clear line of sight to the survivor. This will remove the awkward counterplay where a killer must look away to ensure a stealthy approach. Next, we'll be adding a short 0.5 seconds lingering effect to Spine Chill. This will prevent the perk icon from flickering when the killer looks around and makes the action speed boost more consistent. Finally, we'll be removing the vault speed bonus entirely, as it does not suit the perk's nature. Thank you very bloody much. No more fast vault build survivors, because it was ridiculous, let's be honest. Very, very nice, and a clear line of sight. So that means on an indoor map against a Myers, you'll get no use out of this perk. No use out of this perk. Because if you don't have a clear line of sight, it won't proc. So if he's behind a wall, you won't get Spine Chill. Very, very nice. Now let's talk about the non-meta perk changes, which I assume will be getting a buff. Killer perk buffs. Overcharge. Along with its current effects, Overcharge will cause a kick generator's aggression speed to grow from 100% to 400% over the course of 30 seconds. Survivors want to stop this generator from aggressing as soon as possible. Did I just read this right? What? It's stronger than Call of Brian. Call of Brian is 200%. This is 400%. On top of the random skill check. Killer kicks gen, and if you don't do the skill check, it's going to keep regressing at 400%. And if you miss the skill check, you lose progression anyway. It's basically encouraging survivors to go ahead and deal with the skill check. That is nuts. Love it. Overcharge new meta. Eruption, released with fairly safe numbers, but upon reflection, we're comfortable with increasing them. We've upped the generator regression penalty to 10% and the duration of the incapacitated effect to 15, 20, 25 seconds. That is nice. Bring that with that. Disgusting combination. Oh. Knockout, for those who like to leave survivors on the ground, can have a little more peace of mind. In addition to its current effect, knockout will cause dying survivors to crawl 50% slower for 15 seconds and reduce their recovery speed by 25%. Nice little buff there. Claustrophobia. To make it healing in the killer's territory even more unappealing, claustrophobia will now increase the speed of skill checks by 50% on top of its current effect. Still rubbish. Dark Devotion. This perk is great for confusing and sneaking up on survivors, but the basic attack requirement makes it unappealing. It will now activate whenever the obsession loses a health state. Very, very nice change. Means even you can get away with this with Legion as well. That'd be very nice. Ooh. That'd be really cool. You can Feral Frenzy, go into stealth, and run around the map. That's sick. Jolt. Jolt allows the killer to regress generate simply by downing a survivor. To make it more consistent and punish careless survivor plays, we'll remove the cooldown. Yes! That is sick. Jolt new meta. I'm bringing that every time I play killer. That's nuts. Every time you down a survivor, it doesn't matter how you down them, it's gonna go off. That's nuts. Lethal Pursuer. So you like aura reading, huh? On top of its existing effect, Lethal Pursuer will now extend the duration of all reading effects by 2 seconds. Very, very nice. Goucher, Gift of Pain. This perk also shipped with safer numbers, so will be increasing the action speed penalty to 10, 13, and 16%. Thanatophobia buff! Thanatophobia, another quick one. We're increasing the action speed penalty to 4.55 and 5.5%. Per survivor for a maximum of 22%. Scoutchook, Monstrous Shrine. Long have we waited. Monstrous Shrine has received a rework. This perk will now convert all basement hooks to Scourge hooks. Additionally, Scourge hooks will now grant 10 to 15 to 20% faster entity progression, but only if the killer is not within 24 meters. Survivor perk buffs. Calm Spirit. In addition to Calm Spirit's current effects, you can now open chests and cleanse and bless totems silently. At 40... albeit at 40 to 35% reduced speed. So you're quieter, but you can cleanse it slower. Saboteur. After months of studying, saboteurs can now identify Scourge hooks. Their auras can be shown in yellow when a survivor is being carried. Use this information to your advantage to prevent Scourge hook perks from being activated. Very, very nice. I like that change. Botany Knowledge. Botany Knowledge now has increased healing speed efficiency by 30, 40, 50%, up from 11, 12, 33. That's actually really nice. Off the record, upon being unhooked, gain the endurance status effect for 60, 70, 80 seconds. The endurance effect is lost upon any conspicuous action. While this is a lengthy endurance effect, any game progression action will cancel it prematurely, making it purely for evading the killer after being unhooked. This is an insane new anti-tunnel perk. And what about in-game? I'm assuming, because it said conspicuous action, I'm assuming that means if the doors are opened, you also lose this effect. A self-BT for a very long time, but bear in mind you only have it once when it runs out, and you have to heal yourself fast. Very nice. Lucky Break. This perk is great for escaping a chase, but the effect quickly runs out. We're giving survivors a way to recharge Lucky Break. Each second spent healing another survivor increases Lucky Break's duration by 1 second. The total time cannot exceed the starring duration. Great, that's going to be nuts. I lose survivors whenever this happens. Really strong perk when used correctly. But it will encourage people to heal their teammates, which is nice. And that's not bad for a killer. Healing is better than them doing gens. Pharmacy used to guarantee an emergency medkit the first time you search a chest, which you'd either hope nobody takes before you need to hide off in the corner like a medkit goblin. Now Pharmacy will activate whenever you're injured, guaranteeing an emergency medkit when you search a chest. This effect can happen multiple times in one trial. Oh, okay. So you can constantly get medkits from chests. Not bad. I like that. That's a nice change. Soul Survivor. In addition to hiding your aura, Soul Survivor will now increase your generator repair speed by 75% and your exit gate and hatch action speed by 50%. These effects are only active when you're the last survivor standing. Damn. Easy gen rush when you're the last person. Distortion. For those who like to stay hidden, we've added a way to gain distortion tokens. Gain 1 token for every 30 seconds spent within the killer's tear radius. That's really nice. Barbecue chili just gets rid of. If you bring this, you're basically going to be hidden from the killer forever. Lightweight. In addition to Lightweight's existing effects, your scratch marks will be more sporadic, making you harder to track. Your scratch marks will also fade 5 to 4 to 3 seconds sooner, up from 3, 2, 1. Deja Vu. To help your survivors power the 3 closest generators, Deja Vu will now grant a 5% repair speed bonus to the revealed generators. Really nice to stop 3 gens. We're really good at the start as well. No One Left Behind. Beyond its current effects, No One Left Behind will grant a 7% movement speed bonus to any survivor you unhook. Additionally, the perk now activates when the gates are powered, rather than opened. Dark Sense, we've changed the way Dark Sense works. When a generator is powered, Dark Sense activates. The next time the killer comes within 24 meters of you, their aura is revealed for 5 to 7 to 10 seconds. Dark Sense then deactivates. Okay, so that allows you to get some decent anti-loop for a little bit as well, and you know where the killer is. Tenacity. In addition to the current effects, Tenacity will now reduce your grunts of pain by 75% when you're in the dying state. Combined with increased crawling speed, this perk will now be much more effective in crawling away from the killer. So now you can hide from the killer a lot easier. Hope. Hope is great for those who like to make the late game saves, but this limited the duration and can cause it to expire at an inconvenient time. Since the perk is only useful at the end of the match, we removed the duration entirely. You'll be flying around at the end game. Stonks. Okay. Overzealous. In its current state, cleansing a term grants you a repair speed of 6 to 7 to 8%. Now that bonus doubles if you cleanse a hex. Oh, that's disgusting. You cleanse a hex and a killer gets punished 16% faster gens? Damn. Damn. You gotta make sure you hit survivors if your hex goes. You gotta hit everyone. We're gonna live forever. Much like barbecue and chili, this perk features a massive blood point bonus. We do not want blood points to dictate it. This change will release at the same time as the progression overhaul, which is expected to cut the grind by about 75% with matchmaking incentives, providing additional valuable blood points. So Wigan Lefra also has no more blood point bonus. We realize he's following any changes. A new meta will surely rise. Yeah, it is. It's going to be overcharge. Best perk. We'll be closely monitoring the performance of each updated perk to ensure that none fall too out of line. Moving forward, we hope to make the meta shaking updates like this one more frequent part of our plans to keep the gameplay feeling fresh. With that in mind, we've reached the end of the additional developer update. I will tell you what the new meta will be right now. The killer, overcharge, definitely insanely good. I would highly recommend you bring that. Jolt as well, gonna be nuts, really, really good. For Survivor, honestly, nothing too crazy here that I'm seeing. I think Off the Record will be one. This would be really, really nice. And I think Lucky Break too. These two are definitely going to be very, very good. Distortion will be used more, I think. But other than that, I think it'll only be those two perks. That'll be part of the new meta. Thank you guys for watching.